welcome to, what shall we say to these things? A side conversation sparked by our study of Esther chapter 6. Yeah, TJ was just talking, and I'll let her continue.
Okay, so I think I made the comparison in our study of chapter 6 that what happened to Mordecai reminded me of Joseph.
Okay.
And in the light of sometimes people intend things for our bad and God is able to turn them around to be for our good, or his good, rather. And we benefit sometimes too. And I think for me, it was about the fact that we tend to look at the Bible in fragments.
Okay.
And I think the fact that it's divided into books helps with that. Yeah. And but sometimes as we do these types of studies, as we think about the individual lessons, we can see commonalities that spread throughout. Yeah. And I think there's some of these things that I've not paid as much attention to before. Been looking at the fact that what happened to Mordecai, well, granted it was a betrayal by an enemy, a sworn enemy, in versus to Joseph being literally betrayed by his brothers. But you have the fact that they both ended up in these situations that, well, I mean, also there's also the fact that Mordecai might not have known
that
his life was on the line.
I think he's expecting. He might not have known how soon his life was on the line, but I think he felt the threat on his life, with among all the other Jews.
But I'm also suspicious because, okay, so we're going ahead of the story a little bit, right? But one of the servants in the palace is able to tell the king that Haman built the gallows for Mordecai. So
okay.
This is not a secret, and especially with where Mordecai worked.
And we don't know how like how his friends operated, because he broadcasts this plan to all his friends.
Yeah.
Any of them go home, talk to their wife about it, and maybe their servants over here. Even if somebody didn't, but knowing who Haman was, right? He seems like the kind of person, he's walking on the road, right? And meets somebody and he'll tell them about his plan to kill Mordecai.
But, I mean, he hadn't even gotten permission from the king yet.
This just seems like who Haman was.
But also, I think there's the factor of how high he was building the gallows. I think that would have been visible.
Okay. Yeah.
I low-key think that would have been visible.
And the workers, I don't know. Because he would have to tell somebody. Somebody would have to tell somebody that, oh, these are for Mordecai.
That's interesting. So I feel like Mordecai may have had a little birdie whisper something into his ear, which makes his response to the parade ride a little bit more interesting if you think of it in like that. But that's not what we're talking about.
But also he shows up to work, which is incredible.
Man brave. Man brave. That's all. And I think it's a thing of this conversation has gone completely off track. That's fine. Because he tells Esther, right, a couple of chapters before. Like this one. Chapter 3? I don't remember. But he tells Esther, your father's household may die, but God will deliver the Jews. And so I think he was at a point where he accepted death. And I think especially with his role in the whole situation, he was just like,
okay. This is
fine. It's fine. Yeah.
I'll just keep working until it's done.
Yeah.
That is such a simple idea, but to me it could be powerful.
Anxiety.
No. Yeah, like if you don't have anxiety, right? I feel like that is how you live. Because we all are expecting death at some point.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when, and we don't know. So if we just keep working until, like, I feel
and it's interesting because you say keep working until, but the working could have so many different meanings. Because it could be like a job working. It could be like
spiritually, yeah, like. Yeah, I mean,
but I think
we keep busy, occupy
until I come. That's
right.
what Jesus said. But I think, and it's interesting because he said until I come, but then we sing, what if you die before he comes?
Right.
Oh my goodness, this conversation is just gone. Okay.
So where are we going?
No, it's fine. We'll keep going. We can do another recording for anything else. But like you saying, I think that's a powerful testimony of Mordecai's faith and his belief in his God. To choose to, no matter the circumstances, do what he has to do.
Yeah.
Do what he has to do. And I like that vibe. That's a life lesson for me. I just need to do what I have to do.
Yeah.
Until.
Yeah. And I seriously have respect for him for going home. I mean, for going to work after
the parade.
Yeah. Like I'd be walking to the square. Did you see me? Did you see me pass by earlier? On the horse that the king has rode in his royal robes. Did you see me? So
the bling from my hair.
Yeah, I think there's a lot we can learn from Mordecai, definitely. And we're not even considering. I just accepted the fact that he took in his orphan cousin, but that is significant in itself. That here is somebody who is what's the word? Oh no, I was talking about Esther, somebody who is, but I can't find the word. But yeah, Mordecai.
Oh, okay.
No, I keep thinking at risk, but that's not the word I want. There's a specific word. But yeah, and he takes her in, and they say he treated her as his own child. So yeah, we seeing Mordecai doing a lot of
good stuff.
Yeah, right things.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, definitely
a good guy.
And I guess that's how we go, going back to your comparison to Joseph.
Yeah, just thinking that. Yeah.
Yeah, we see these people do the right thing.
Okay, I don't want to cut you, but like I just literally had the thing. Like, to me, the comparison just became like even more interesting because I was thinking of Joseph and Potiphar's wife, and then we have Mordecai not bowing down. And so here are these two people doing what they believe is the right thing.
And being punished directly for it.
Yeah.
Not just not being rewarded, like with Mordecai and the assassination plot. Not that they're not being rewarded, is that they're getting punished for it. And I think at any of those points in there where they're facing bad things, it could be so easy to just turn. Like, that be their villain backstory,
according to Job's wife, curse God and die.
Right. It could be so easy. But they just carry on doing what they have to do, doing what they think is right. Because, and I think that things back into that conversation we had about what it was Mordecai we were talking about. The fact that we're doing it and we're not expecting good things to happen to us. We're living and we accepting that bad things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we grateful when the good things happen, but we're not expecting them. I think it thinks back into that we don't see I guess good things necessarily as a reward. We don't think we're deserving of them, and we just literally just going back to work after the good things.
Okay. Yeah. It's just a blessing.
Yeah. And we continue to work through the bad things. Yeah.
Look at Joseph. The guy was in jail, right? And is so well behaved in jail that he becomes the head of the prisoners. Like,
yeah, it doesn't get more occupied than that.
yes, until and I think it was a testament to, and we don't have Mordecai's backstory, but I think it was a testament to how Joseph was raised. And I mean, we're not studying Joseph right now, but I think about how young he must have been, right, when his brothers sold him. And can you imagine, as a young person, being betrayed by your siblings, right, and then being sold into slavery, but maintaining this level of a moral compass, not just moral compass, but like a relationship with God where you say, I will not do this evil against my God, in a situation that could have very easily benefited you on multiple levels, right? There we go again, censoring the Bible. But and then to be punished for taking that stance and not sinning against because he said my master and my God. Right? So you do not do this evil against your master and your God, and then you are sent to jail because they're saying you actually did what you did not do. That's one thing I hate, right? When people say I do things that I did. But, like, punish me for what I did, but don't punish me for what I didn't do. No. And then in jail, he is such an outstanding individual that he gets promoted to supervisor of the rest of the prisoners. And then he's so well known that when these people have a challenge, he's the one who helps them. Well, I mean, he helped one of them. The other one died. Again, censoring the Bible. And then eventually, he gets, I don't want to say his comeuppance, because I don't think that's what it is. I think God's plan for his life comes into fruition. Is that the word?
I think so.
Right. And God is putting him where he needs him to be for the rest of the story.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same thing that's happening with Mordecai, where God is setting things up so Mordecai can be where God needs him to be for the rest of the story.
It's about timing, and it's not necessarily about our actions or
I think our actions do play a little bit into it, because we have to make ourselves available. We have to be willing and available.
Okay.
But then if we are not, he will use somebody else, like Mordecai rightly told Esther. Like if you stay up there in your cushy palace, you will die, and God will deliver us. God will deliver his people somehow. Another way.
But like you made a thing of Joseph and how he was brought up. I think it's more than that. I think our parents can only do so much, because look at his other brothers. And to be fair, they would have had different mothers, so we don't know how much their mothers played a role in their early childhood and in instilling their values. But they all have the same father, who has made some questionable decisions in his past, and we assume that he's learned from them. But I think it could have been more than how he was brought up. I think he had to have.
I agree, but I think it's okay. So like you develop a personal relationship with God, and it may be something that happens in your adult life or whatever. But I think for somebody whose parents introduced them to God, I don't want to say it's easier, because that's not necessarily true, but I think that plays a role. The introduction.
There's a foundation. There's
and I think I don't want to entirely write off the actions of Joseph's brothers for two reasons. Jealousy is a dangerous thing. That jealousy has the capability to take what I would want to say the best of people and make them like bad mind, like just pure bad mind. And also there's also the factor that while they were wrong on so many levels, God was using them in the big picture. Like God had to find a way to get Joseph to Egypt. Like it had to happen somehow. And it may have been an uncomfortable route, it may have been a messy route, and his brothers were just bad for how they did it, but at the same time, it was just part of the plan. It was just part of God getting Joseph to where he needed him to be for the rest of the story.
This is like a whole different conversation, but it makes me think about like the bad guys of the Bible. You know, like you saying God uses Haman's wife to predict the future. Haman's wife and the friends, the same people who were behind Haman trying to kill Mordecai. Look, he uses Joseph's Joseph's brothers' evil plans to get Joseph to Egypt. And then you think about Judas, who is without. But that's the thing, right? If Judas had never turned, Jesus would still have to die.
Yeah, and somebody else would have done it.
That is like, but I guess it's our finite minds not understanding the.
I think because if we look at Joseph's brothers, right, they were wrong, and at the end of not the end of the story, but like at the end of their chapter, we see them apologizing to Joseph and admitting their fault and their wrong in the whole saga of his life. And I think that while God is able to use people with ill intentions to further his plan, I think he also gives them an opportunity to change.
Repentance.
And I think sometimes in the example of Haman, I think it's something of, can you see the big picture? Can you see your role in the big picture? And I was saying that in the uncomfortable situations, it might just be God using you. And so even with Haman, he was so set on destroying the Jews that he could not make a turnaround.
Okay.
He was so fixated that he could not have had a redemption arc.
Okay.
And I think that's the same thing that happened to Judas. But I think Judas is a little bit more complex, because I think Judas might have thought that Jesus would have saved himself. And so he did not let himself have a redemption arc. But this was an interesting conversation.
This is not where it was meant to go. I don't even know where it was meant to go.
I think this was where it was meant to go. This is not where we planned that.
Okay.
I think this is the conversation we needed to have. Just not the one we planned on having.
But maybe that's a series we could do, like, because a lot of the time we don't spend much time on the bad guy of a story. I think there's stuff we can learn from them, even if it's what not to do. I think there's stuff we can learn from them. So maybe
villains of the Bible. Okay.
I don't know.
Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think.
Yeah. Okay, so this was another side conversation sparked by
it was a side conversation on a side conversation.
Yes. Side conversationception.
Literally, yeah.
Okay, so this has been what shall we say to these things? What do you call it? Side conversations. Yeah. We look forward to hearing from you. What did you think? What did you learn? What else does this remind you of? Yeah, that's it. I'm MJ.
And I'm TJ, and until next time, we're out.